What's up, Regular Raccoon? What's up, everybody else just joining? Little impromptu Q&A here on a Friday. You already know what it's like outside here in the Bay Area. Look at that traffic leaving San Francisco. No rain in San Jose. Looks like the... Whoa, birds. Looks like the ground is relatively dry. Walnut Creek. Storm still passing through. Of course, just as I say that, the shot freezing also. I haven't live streamed in quite a while. And so I wanted to do a little Q&A from here at the home studio. Hello. So you can see what it looks like locally. What if we take you somewhere, I don't know, a little bit more tropical. A live look at Kauai. I guess it's what, just about 1 o'clock out there? 4 p.m. here? No, actually 2 p.m., right? 2 hours behind. That doesn't look like a bad place to be right now. I don't have the temperature, but I'm smelling at least 75 right there. Normally I could switch back and forth here between all the cameras, but I didn't set it up properly, so... There's Truckee downtown. The train lines running, well, right where you can see them there, right through the snow. This camera moves around a little bit. Obviously, it's wet, but there's some snow on the ground. It's a fair amount of snow on those roofs. Or is it roofs? Roofs or roofs? Roofs, I think, is probably the right way to say it. Roofs. Oh, don't freeze on me. Come on, right while we're here, don't freeze. Don't do that. Doesn't that, I mean, that looks like a winter wonderland right there. And maybe you get tired of that snow after a while, but Truckee looks like a storybook town. Look at that with the Christmas tree down there, a couple of them lit up still. Little Friday traffic. I could go for one of two things in Truckee right now, like a warm cup of coffee or a cold beer. Let's see, how are we looking right now in Las Vegas? Dry, cold, a little bit dreary out there. It's getting darker in the day. You're looking at the Aria off in the right in the distance, the Park MGM. I guess that's what, the Cosmopolitan then to the left? Am I right about that? Do I have my, or is that New York, New York to the left? That might be, Got to get my geography straight here. It's been a while. It's been 3 years since the last Las Vegas trip. All right, let's show you a couple more, and then I am going to dive into the live chat. That's the reason I'm here. I want to do a little back and forth. Oh, this will be good. San Diego right now. It was cloudy and overcast all day. Now look at the sun peeking through. Downtown there in the distance. That's not looking bad at all. Even for a wintry, cloudy, overcast, rainy day, that's still what San Diego looks like. I'll take it. I will take it. Hopefully the live chat is populating. Take a look at it here. Is anybody here? Oh yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, we're breaking on 30. Maybe we should get into the live chat. Maybe we should abandon the whole the whole live camera thing. Although I have a ton of fun with this. All right, let's see what else we could bring you here. Can we pull off like the most amazing one ever? Can I show you? And I'm not even kidding about this. Are you ready to see live from space? Yeah, no, seriously, this is live from the International Space Station. Who else brings this to you on their channel? Who else goes live to space besides Brazil? Oh, there we go. Now we've got the onboard camera. I don't know why that one's always dark. Top right. Bottom left is the tracking of where the International Space Station is. It's currently mid-southern Pacific right now. And I mean like deep southern Pacific. It's got a ways to go before it looks like it's going to come back over the very southern tip of South America. Down there by Chile. And I guess Brazil goes pretty far down there. Man, that's embarrassing. Got to brush up on the geography. The southern tip of South America. When I know it, I'll see it. But yeah, it's going to be over there within the next probably, I'd say, 20 minutes or so. You can see the trail of where it's been in the last hour and a half. Yeah, so this is live. Whoa, nope, didn't mean to do that. This is live in space right now. Just think about that. You're looking live at space. Well, from space back down to Earth. That's how small we are. All right. I'm going to ditch the music. I'm going to get the Q&A going. Really appreciate everybody for being here, by the way. Okay. Music. Oh, I did not mean to do the hard cut like that. I really did not. I meant to fade it out. That obviously did not work out well. All right, let's get into the chat. Regular Raccoon, hello. How are you doing? Ruben, what's up to you? Caker Girl, good to see you virtually. Now that I've met you in person. Puck Guy, how are you? Happy holidays to you too. Colby, hello. Caesar, hello from Seattle. Is it raining up there too? I mean, most likely, but today weird here, at home at least. Not dumping rain, kind of spitting rain all day. And actually, when I was just outside, it was rather warm. So it's not even the cold weather anymore. It's actually kind of refreshing to not be bone-chilling cold. That's one of the good things, at least, about the rain around here, is typically when it rains, it's not cold. It's either raining and wet and mild temperatures or freezing cold and dry. And it had been the latter, I should say, for quite a bit. Yeah, we'll do traffic on the 8s, Puck Guy. We'll give you a look at 101, 80, 880, 24. We'll do all that. Ruben checking in from Sacramento. You know what's cool, Ruben, by the way, I don't know if this resonates with you. I like your hat. I got a message from the Sacramento Kings today. I did a couple videos on them recently here on the channel, and they said, could we use some of that? I'm just like, are you kidding? Absolutely. So look for that collaboration coming soon. I should play NHL. Buster, is that you? Is that really you, Buster Posey? You're a Sharks fan now, huh? I will. I'll get on the sticks eventually, sooner than later. Hello from North Carolina, Jordan Peters. What do the Sharks need to do next? Let's go a little bit deeper on this question. I mean, obviously, the trade deadline is coming March 3rd. Obviously, some things have to give for this team. If they keep the charted course that they're on right now with the structure of players and salary cap and all that stuff, I don't know that they will see instantly different results. They've made some changes going into this season. Mike Grier has yet to really have a wholesale maneuver that's like of the wow variety. And I would have to think, can everybody hear that? Remember what I said before that it wasn't raining hard all day? I don't know if it's picking up on the mic, but sorry, I was a little distracted. It's really coming down out there right now. I think at some point, I think that there have to be the moves that clear up the salary cap space. I think the draft is going to be huge for San Jose. And as I watch Connor Bedard in the World Juniors, okay, all right, you got me. Now I'm really enticed. And now I really do believe that something like that could drastically alter the franchise's course for the future. I don't even know if it's next year. Everybody would think he might be ready, like literally next year in the NHL. But I mean, you need some of these wow things to start happening. You need a top 3 draft pick. That's a wow. You need probably some salary cap flexibility. And to get that, you probably have to move some players around, some of the wow variety, some things that you weren't exactly expecting. So I hate to pinpoint even one thing or the next. I'll tell you right now, in the immediate future, one of their biggest deals is clamping down defensively. They're not going to be a team that can outscore their problems. And their penalty kill has been a backbone literally of all season. Their power play has actually been pretty good here in the month of December. I think it's 11 goals in 11 December games on the power play. But if you're going to keep giving up 5 and 6 spots and defensive miscues, missed assignments, last split second execution defensively, if all that stuff is going to fail for you, then the Sharks have honestly no chance because they're getting goals from Timo Meier, some from Tomas Hertl, occasionally from a Logan Couture or a Kevin Labanc or a Nico Sturm, and Karlsson obviously facilitating. Literally, Erik Karlsson has been part of almost half the Sharks' goals this year, either scoring them or assisting them, primary or secondary. Think about that for a second. I retweeted this. It came from Darren Stevens, Sharks Stats on Twitter today. I'll give him the credit. I would put it up here on the screen, but I'll just read it to you because it's equally impressive. Erik Karlsson has had a point on 44.6% of Sharks' goals this season, 50 out of 112. It's the highest percentage by any defenseman in NHL history. Minimum 20 games in a season. The highest percentage by any defenseman in NHL history. Now, up to this point, we're 37 games in, but that's one heck of a pace. 44.6% of the goals Karlsson has been a part of, like literally on the score sheet. In the immediate future, tighten up defensively. You can't be giving up 4s, 5s, and 6s. Quite honestly, even giving up 3s is tough for this team to have to outscore that. But that's one of their biggest things to do next. In the long term, like I said, they need some wow moves. They need some things that make you go, okay, all right. I think it's very apparent that other teams would want the services of James Reimer. I think he's a great trade piece for a lot of teams out there as some goaltending insurance. He's been fantastic this year, despite how team and defensive results have gone. And obviously, the team has some decisions to make with Timo Meier on a 40-goal pace. Was part of the scoring efforts last night. What do you do? He's going to be a restricted free agent. If you want to keep him, you probably have to sign him, obviously, before he gets to the RFA market. Otherwise, it's at any other team around the league's mercy of how much they would offer him versus how much then you would have to match for Timo Meier. And the Sharks are just not in a very flexible salary cap situation right now. I think the cap's only going up about $1 million or so. So, Jordan, to answer your question, near term, play better defense. Long term, hopefully get a good draft pick, draft well, make some wow moves. How the team looks now versus how they'll look after March 3rd with the trade deadline versus how they'll look opening night 2023. It could be 3 entirely different things. So we'll see. Does the San Jose Sharks have an AHL affiliate, the San Jose Barracuda? Their colors orange, teal, and silver. Why, yes, Charles, that is the case. And they play at the brand new Tech CU Arena. Regular Raccoon. Is it weird for me to be a Dodger fan who is also a Sharks and Warrior fan who lives in San Jose? Well, the only part I think that would be questioned would be the Dodger fandom. Now, maybe you're from LA, maybe you've got family, maybe you were raised on the Dodgers. That's fine with me. I mean, granted, there are folks here on my channel who are diehard Giants fans. I appreciate the crossover. You know me as the A's guys. I appreciate that we can mutually be here together. Weird? No. But you probably fight an uphill battle, don't you? Like on a regular basis? Just in terms of talking baseball with people. Who's your team? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Caker Girl, it's going slow and it's going lazy so far. Yeah, to be quite honest. This is one of the ultimate slow, lazy days. Dog Guy 93. Brody, now Mike Potenza? What? Sharks strength and conditioning coach? How does he get dropped in here? Do I know? Or maybe do I know Mike Potenza? Yes, I do. I thought you meant, am I him now? Did I offer some advice that would make me sound like the Shark strength and conditioning coach? Bamboo Soldier, bless up to you as well, too. Appreciate you being here. Oh, no, that's the same thing. Do I know him? Puck Guy says, New York, to the left. T-Mobile Arena. Oh, sorry. When we were looking at Las Vegas. I am way behind on the live chat. Zach, good to see you. Uncle Broad's in the house. Baker 91, good. We're doing great now that you're here, so I appreciate that. Is this still on? I hope we're still on. Did the live stream go away? Says we're streaming here. Says we've been on. You know what I always do? If I'm not sure, I literally go to my phone and I double check. Oh yeah, look at there I am. And I double check. Oh yeah, look at there I am. We're definitely live streaming still. It's the 41-year-old's way of checking the live stream. Let's go back to this. Caker Girl wondering, do I have any fun New Year's traditions? You know, over the years, especially recent ones, there's always been a Sharks game on New Year's Eve. Now, fortunately, they always take place in the 3, 4, 5 o'clock hour, sometimes even like 1 or 2 p.m. And that always gets me done with work and out of San Francisco or out of San Jose by an early hour. Now, in previous versions of my life, I would stay up till midnight. I would go out and do stuff with people and, be social. These days, with the 5-year-old who's going to wake up at 5 something the next day anyway, I mean, I don't even know if I've been up for the last couple midnights. Quite honestly, I don't even remember. So not necessarily. It usually involves work, and I don't mind that. I mean, New Year's Eve, working until 6 or 7, who cares? What was I really going to do anyway? I wish I had one. I really do. Maybe I'll get to revisit some of those getting older and a little bit more flexibility. Gregus, just testing. Okay, I appreciate that. Where do I get those cameras? Oh, the live cameras. I think I have a link in the description, but HDOnTap.com supplies a few of them. Others are just freely available to look at on the internet. I'll do a separate video on that someday, kind of explaining that. Non-sports question, DC or Marvel? Oh, Zach, you're going to hate me. It's because I don't really have a preference at all. Either one. I'm never a big... Honestly, didn't really grow up on a ton of cartoons and animation. And I think the difference here is that people who are in their 30s might have had more of that growing up than I did. It's not to say that that stuff didn't exist, but they were not making the same movies, when I was a kid as they did even 10 years later. Like the difference between the 90s and the 2000s, for example. So much more of a resurgence of the DC and the Marvel brand. So I can't say that I'm superhero tied to one or the other. I like them both. But I appreciate you, if I had a good answer, I would have loved to have given it to you right there. Oh, Ruben starting the gym grind again. Leg day today, though. You know what? How many people, by the way, how many of you are starting off your New Year's with that resolution? I bet you 50% of people out there say, hey, January 1st, new me. I'm going to start the exercise routine. I'm going to start eating better. That's great. But how many times in our lives are we going to put ourselves through that? Because, and I guess maybe I'll try and see it in a positive way. If it works, if 5% of people can stick through it over like 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, a year, then that's great. That's great for that 5% of people who say they're going to do it. But that's a lot of failure in there too. And then I think people get hard on themselves and frustrated, and then they say, all right, well, in April, start this again by June or July, and then I'll be feeling better. I think most importantly, it's about feeling good. And I also think too that you get addicted to whatever you're doing. If you haven't been taking care of yourself, if you haven't been exercising enough and working your body out, you get addicted to not wanting to do it. On the flip side, if you get in a routine and you start a regular pattern and you're doing the right things for yourself and your body, then you get addicted to that too. And it's actually easier the farther you go. It's like the hardest part, honestly, is the beginning part. Like the hardest part of getting back in shape, getting into a routine, which, hey, I'm right there with everybody. I think I'm part of that 50%. The hardest part is starting. It's like a car. Once you're going 60, I mean, your foot's kind of on the gas, but to start the car, like to move it forward, you need to give it a little bit more of a push to get those wheels going. So I hear you. What's up from Santa Cruz? I bet you it's really overcast, Ezekiel, out there today. Colby wondering, I know we're far from baseball season and free agents are still being picked up, but you should do a video with predictions on each division. I do it every season, and it's comedy by season's end. Are you saying that predictions are wrong? Isn't that the beautiful thing about sports, though? Is that we could have all these conversations, like let's pick out the AL West, right? Or the NL West, which is all of a sudden a big spending division. I mean, the AL West is too, but to try and think that we could predict how things will play out with any type of accuracy, you're right. By the time August rolls around, September hits, you play that video back. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should make a video in January and play it back in August. Talk about the A's, do like a time capsule. That's not a bad idea. I'll do a time capsule. I'll start with the A's, and then maybe I'll do one about the AL West. And look, no disrespect. I think the NL West is interesting too. Giants are an interesting study, but certainly Padres and Dodgers are as well. But I'll go with, what I'll be working on most of the summer. That's the A's. And then I'll play that video back. I'll comment on the video as I play it back. Let's see how many things I get wrong and right. To your point, that is one thing about sports. But I will say the things you get right and the things you had as like a gut instinct, and when you nail them and when you saw them coming 6-8 months in advance, you do feel pretty good about it. But you're right. The batting average for that, probably not terrific for all of us. Look at Caesar, just throwing out emojis. Greg is throwing out the old school emojis. Greetings to you, Chris, as well, too. You could just call me Brody. There's no Mr. Brazil around here. Howdy to you, too. Ronald, hello from Ron Wallace from Daphne, Alabama. Am I saying that right? Daphne? Daphne, Alabama. Glad to have you here. 49er Minded saw the Personas videos. Is this your home setup or am I at the studio? This is the home setup. By the way, 49er Minded. Actually, by the way, everybody. Can I make the pitch right now to all of you to check out my 2 brand new other channels? If you know me here just because you're on this channel, and I do appreciate that. Let me actually just pull it up here. If you wouldn't mind checking these out when you're done, I would really appreciate that. Where is Home Studio Pro? There we go. Here, let me just pull this up. So this is, I have 2, this is the new channel. I had an aviation channel that I started about more than a year ago, but I'm revisiting it. And now the same thing here with, this is a brand new channel about all home studio stuff. These are a lot of the products I use, how to present on camera, like I'm the expert on that. But check out these videos. I would really appreciate that. Some different microphones you might want to use, processing, what headphones to get. This is the switcher I'm using right now. So I go over all this stuff in pretty great detail. How to read scripts. I get to do like a sample read, couple sample reads on there with some sound effects. That's not the effect I thought I was going to get there. Anyway, so that's one of the channels. And then the other channel is my aviation channel. And pull that up for you here. Here that is. And there's a bunch of older videos on here, but some new ones as well, too. Some tips for my flight instructing days of what to do the night before your check ride. Your check ride is your big flight test to get a new certificate or rating. How you should brief your passengers. What are winglets? And what exactly do they do? Wake turbulence, special use airspace, all that stuff. Final checks for every flight. Once you're done flying, what are the things you're supposed to do? So all of that in addition to the channel that I'm talking to you on here right now. So I would really appreciate everybody's support if you're interested in any of that stuff, or even if you just want to help me out. I appreciate all that. So 49er Minded, this is the home setup. To answer your question, here at the home, I use the Apollo Twin X for audio processing. I use the Personas when I'm doing remote streaming, specifically from work. Zach talking to you, or you were talking to Jamie Baker, told you it was a 5-year rebuild for the Sharks. Well, maybe we're already 3 years in. Or maybe we're 2 years in. Maybe this is year 3. If this is year 1, that's a pretty slow moving estimate. You know, I mean, that's a longer rebuild than I would expect or hope for. But look, I don't think you can it's hard to put a time on any of this stuff. It really is. Ronald, great question. What do I think about the Derek Carr situation? It's very clear that the Raiders are making a decision to cut ties right now while they're not on the hook for anything bad happening in the final couple weeks of action. If he got hurt, they could be on the hook for not only keeping him, but I think about a $40 million price tag that goes along with it. I think they've made their choice, that they want to move on. I think, Ronald, the most interesting part is that he's just not going to be around. They've said, you know what, you're done for the year. You're not going to start. You're not going to play. And they made that mutual agreement for him to not be present. That's interesting. I mean, Derek Carr always strikes me as somebody who would never quit on anything. And so that makes me think, and granted, I've only done light reading on this. I'm not somebody behind the scenes. I don't even have connections right now to what's going on behind the scenes. Like a lot of times I can find some things out if I really wanted to, even if I don't, share them or repurpose them. But I haven't even gone that far. To me, on the outside looking in, you would have to think that the team has suggested to him, just shut your season down right now. We're giving you the final 2 weeks off as like severance, and then they can get out of the contract with him and not have to worry about any type of injury that would keep him on the team, keep him on the payroll. But I think the whole, hey, see you later, have a good life, that's kind of weird. And that's kind of weird almost from a Derek Carr perspective, that he wouldn't have pushed back against that. Your season is what it is. Your interceptions are what they are. Your team struggles are what they are. But to depart the entire situation like that, something seems off about his personality, the overall, the precedent for something like this. You don't see this very often. And what harm, honestly, would his presence do? Is he going to lean over somebody's shoulder and intimidate them, or just they don't want him around? Or what are you going to do with the Raiders in the final, 2 weeks to drastically prepare for next season? The whole offseason is going to wipe away these final weeks anyway. They don't matter. By the way, side note, I saw that people are paying on average almost $600 to go to this weekend's game. Raiders hosting the 49ers, first ever game for them in Las Vegas. This isn't even a Battle of the Bay thing anymore. This is not a LA versus the Bay thing. This is San Francisco. Actually, it's Santa Clara versus Las Vegas. And I've also seen and heard that 60% of ticket sales are going to 49er fans. Like when you see Allegiant Stadium on Sunday, it's going to be packed with 49er fans, which would not be surprising to me based on what they've done at SoFi Stadium, how well they travel, road games in Arizona over the years, even road games in Dallas over the years. So that's not. But two things. Actually, just one thing. What's the allure of paying almost $600 a ticket on average to go to this game? 49ers are doing what they're doing. Raiders are going where they're going. You just want to be there for the matchup? Is it a good vacation time? Is that why prices are high? It's a holiday? Maybe spend New Year's in Vegas, go to the football game on Sunday? Okay, maybe that's driving as for the game, there's not a lot enticing here. Debo's not playing. We found that out today. Anyways, Ronald, I'm sorry. I departed here. The Derek Carr situation, weird. I don't think it's going to cost him at all in finding a new team next year, in a new situation. This doesn't make him look bad. It would make him look bad if the Raiders said, he just ghosted us. That's not it. They've said, we mutually just decided it's best for all of us. Has he commented on this? I have not seen that yet. I mean, has he done a full, Q&A session? I don't think so. It's odd. It's unprecedented in sports. Sometimes an injury will take a player away, and then there's no point in coming back. But in this case, it's we're done. And We don't want to take chances on this, and you're better off not being here, I guess. So I wish I could explain it, but I can't. Triple G 0806. Happy New Year's to you as well, too. Should the Sharks go to Mackie Niemi? We seem to have gotten really stale in the net. I think looking at Kaapo Kähkönen's last handful of starts, the optimal situation would have been that he has started to emerge, that he has started to play well, and that, you have a Mackie Niemi or you have even an Arundel in the short term, and you'll get through the rest of this season and you feel good about all of your options as they are. Mackie Niemi, we've just, seen the cusp of. We don't really know at the NHL level yet. Arundel, I root for him personally. The fact that he's on the Barracuda going through this season, I think he's a certified NHL, at least backup at this point. Very serviceable in that position, but he's just not right there right now. So if, in fact, the Sharks do make a move with James Reimer in the coming weeks, really, what are we talking here? They have about 9 weeks left before the trade deadline. Now, actually about 8. February is a short month. So about 8 weeks left to make a move, goaltending-wise. And specifically, like I said before, Reimer is the one that's enticing to other teams. He's at the end of his 2-year deal. Kähkönen was signed at the beginning of this year to a 2-year deal, right? They made the choice between it was him or it was Adin Hill. Man, Adin Hill's name for me lately, I've brought it up in conversation. I can see his face, and the name just escapes me for half a second. Then I start to panic. And obviously Adin Hill is down in Las Vegas. But when they chose to go with Kähkönen and sign him for 2 years, the hard thing is this year, Reimer has played so well, it's been hard to stray away from him. So like I said, optimally, you'd look at a couple other choices and say, well, if Reimer's not here, we'll be good here, or we'll be good here, or we'll be good with all of this. But I feel like right now, they might be, but nobody has consistently proven that or shown that to the Sharks yet. But I also think, too, that goaltending-wise, the Sharks have got their cards pretty close to their chest. And I don't think it's any secret that Reimer is out there and Reimer might get dealt. So why would they want to, prioritize and play somebody up as the next thing? And until it's time, then you'll absolutely know what the pecking order looks like for Sharks goaltending. Jack, yes, I've been keeping up with the World Juniors. I've been keeping up with Team Canada specifically. Connor Bedard, 12 points? 5 goals, 12 points in 3 games? And what is he? He tied the Eberle mark. Was it a dozen or 14 total goals in 2 World Juniors? Just unreal. I hate to make the entire focus on like Bedard and Fantelli, but at the same respect, there's so much attention on those individuals, and it's almost like they need to blow the roof off of that tournament. If they don't, people will speculate, well, what's going on? Maybe there's false advertising, but they are, to this point, they're kind of knocking people's socks off. So good for them. In terms of the teams and other players, I've just been loosely watching, to be quite honest. But I will, especially after the New Year's hits here, because I think the tournament goes until the 5th. Am I right on that? So actually, in tomorrow's pregame live, we're going to have a World Juniors update on where everybody's at. A couple of the Sharks prospects, 2 of them specifically that are playing in the World Juniors, as well as how team by team, how everybody's doing, and obviously some of the top draft picks. So yeah, I have been. You know what? I don't know if Canada would ever give up that tournament. They won't. But now that we've got Tech CU Arena here in the Bay Area and SAP Center, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Could the World Juniors ever come to California? Could they come to San Jose? Could they come to the Bay Area? Think about the boost that would bring. Tourism, economy, hockey, attention, Tech CU. What could the Bay Area do for this tournament too, right? Showcase a little bit, take all the teams up to San Francisco one day or down to Monterey for an afternoon. All that stuff, it could really be a boost. I wonder how, Canadians look at this tournament, which begins traditionally on Boxing Day, the 26th. They look at this as like a national tournament for them. It's a world tournament, right? But they kind of selfishly grab onto this and, host it across their country. Okay, I get it. But I think this would be an outstanding thing to happen for our region. I think we could do it justice. I think we could welcome in everybody. We could welcome in all the snowbirds. Come on. If you're in Toronto right now, as much as you'd like to see it at the Scotiabank Centre, the former Air Canada Centre, you'd love to come out to the Bay Area, escape the snow, escape the freezing cold. You'd love to wear your flip-flops to the rink, just like all of us do. You'd love that. If you're from the prairies, if you're from Manitoba or Saskatchewan or Alberta, wherever, get out of the winter. This is a good excuse for you. How about this? Now, would it be, I'm just thinking here to sweeten the pot. Now, I don't want to give Las Vegas, I don't want to give this away. I'm doing this for San Jose. If you needed more locations, maybe you do some of the preliminary stuff, because Las Vegas is an hour flight away. Do you need everybody close? Could you have some T-Mobile and the arena in Henderson that they use? Could you have 4 rinks? Could you do it that way? Or do you really only need 2? Because the Bay Area's got 2 world-class hockey venues right now. We used to only have 1. Now that we have 2, we can host a tournament like this. Anyway, just my thought. Forget the Las Vegas part. I was being friendly. I was trying to sweeten the deal. Never mind. I'd love to see it. Another Derek Carr question. I know I just got to that one. And if you're right, if you're the Raiders and you get to a 3rd string, 4th string situation, you're right. I didn't think about that. That is embarrassing. Is this the bottom for the A's? Only up from here, right? It's a great way to put it. To be quite honest with you, the teardown of last year, all the departures, Chapman, Olsen, Bassett, Minaya, you name it. Now Sean Murphy for this year. Let me put it to you like this. How many more known commodities are left on the team? Ramon Laureano for one, Tony Kemp as another. You understand what I'm saying. And a couple more here and there, especially in the rotation, maybe a Cole Irvin, a Caprillion, hopefully his season pans out. But, they are not a shell of what they used to be anymore. And that's why I've said this already. Some people think I'm being sarcastic. They're not going to lose 102 games again next year. They absolutely won't. Their core of players, they're young players, they're Shea Langoliers, they're Nick Allens, they're hopefully Christian Paches and company. They're all coming up. You've seen another group of young players be acquired this offseason. The deal that ultimately, the 3-way deal that sent Murph to Atlanta brought in some pitchers for the bullpen and for the rotation. You already picked up a couple pitchers in the Frankie Montas deal last year. So in my opinion, this is going to already instantly be a better team, but they need 2 things. They need growth, they need maturation, they need experience. Well, did I say 2 things? Now I'm naming like 6. They need confidence. They just need to move forward, and that's what time and that's what this upcoming season will bring them. So, to your point, yes, I think they've already hit the bottom of what was a planned activity. Could you imagine it? Like some teams just get bad over years, or their time runs out. The A's, how else do we put this? They started this process by themselves on purpose. And they've done this before, successfully. Now, I know that's not easier to swallow. It's not easier to accept. I loved all the players that they traded, like literally all of them. Even the ones that just got away, the Canas, the Starling Martes, the Josh Harrisons. Yeah, all of them. But I think to know that they've got a plan here, to know that they're already working on their plan, to see their vision already, now it's just a matter of it playing out. And that's why, I've seen the criticism when I say this. They won't lose 100. Oh, they'll lose 110 games. You're crazy. No, I really don't believe that. The upward trajectory is starting. Now, how long will it take? How many times will we see one step forward, one step back, or two steps back? I don't know. You can't necessarily predict that with a whole bunch of precision, but I think that their process and their journey moving forward is happening much sooner than later, and it is happening. So I think we saw rock bottom this year, 2022. 102 losses, 100+ losses for only the second time in Oakland history. Ethan, thoughts on last night's Sharks loss? That was about as rough as they get. To have a 3-1 lead with 19 minutes left in the game, to have a power play along the way that you also couldn't convert on. They thought they were going to get the 5-minute major. Turns out to be just a 2-minute minor. To not add on, to not, keep the Flyers out of the game. They made it 3-2, I think 5 minutes, 5 and change into the third period. And then they scored their game-tying goal with the extra attacker with about 2 and change left. And they were the better team. The Flyers, you could smell them coming in that third period. It was only a matter of, could the Sharks hang on? Could the clock expire? Could they hang on long enough so that the clock expired? And I never saw the Coach Quinn press conference. He has been coming out a little bit later, even sometimes than our show is going off the air. Our post-game show is done. And whatever his post-game routine is. So I missed the comments that he had after last night, but did see what Logan Couture said, or Tomas Hertl said, did see what Erik Karlsson said. They were upset. I didn't know what to say, honestly, in the post-game show. It happened so fast, hard to process. And especially when you lose in overtime and the Flyers had a couple rushes and chances and the Sharks didn't even really throw a punch in that OT. And it almost had the feeling of, hey, I always feel confident when the Sharks are 3-on-3. When you can throw out a Karlsson, a Meyer, a Hertl, a Logan, LeBanc as a scorer. I mean, you can always... I always feel like it doesn't matter who the Sharks are playing. Best opponent in the league, worst opponent in the league, they'll always have a chance with this current group, 3-on-3. They've got enough skill, they've got enough firepower to do it. And when they didn't even... And if they won last night, I would have erased that third period and said, you know what? You played a good 40-something minutes. You didn't play 60. You weren't the better team for all 60, but I'll take it in overtime. Whatever. We'll move on. The flip side was, think about this. The Flyers never had a lead last night. They never had a lead until they won the game in overtime, 4-3. Sharks scored in every period. Sharks were, there were enough... You had Hertl on hat trick watch for most of the night. You had Karlsson's point streak extend to 11 games. You had Timo Meier factoring into the scoring. Had Kevin LeBanc score a breakaway goal. You had another game of individual efforts, but it's crazy. The last 2 games and the last 2 losses, 4-3 in overtime last night. And then on the 27th, 6-2 loss in Vancouver. Timo Meier scored both goals. Sharks looked disjointed from the very drop of the puck. It's crazy that I'm saying this, but the loss to Vancouver 6-2 was easier to digest than last night. I'm not saying I prefer any type of loss. I don't prefer that at all. But the loss 2 games ago was easier to take than last night's loss. It's probably the best way to conclude that. So 49er Minded, I met you once at the first game at Avaya Stadium. Oh, I was mad cool. Thank you. You know what's funny? I recently, I think I reposted the feature, the story, whatever I did on that day here on the YouTube channel. And when I watched the clip back, I drank a beer as part of it. Now I was pretty proud of that because I don't think that happens very often. I was testing out the longest bar in North America. That was the billing on the eastern end zone of the stadium. That's awesome, 49er Minded. I appreciate you remembering that and saying that. Oh, what do I think is going on with Correa's physical? Now, let's revisit this quickly from the Giants' perspective. They waved a little bit of a flag here, and they took a lot of heat for that. And everybody thought the physical was going to go to the Mets and, their ownership there. Hey, no problem. We'll pay this off. We'll take care of you. We're not like them. And then what do? They raise concerns. And then Christmas happens. And then both sides are awfully quiet. By the time I, go check Twitter and this video is seen later, people will say, well, something else might have happened. I don't know how it's going to go, but it's awfully interesting that flags were brought up by the Mets, and then everybody goes silent. And then you hear about a couple other teams that have thrown in offers, and you wonder, wait, is that Scott Boras priming his client for a third opportunity somewhere else, a third deal to be struck? Would that be a record, by the way? One free agent agreeing to 3 different deals in an offseason and ultimately going with the third. The other two got broken up. Look, the physical is part of the process for a reason. If you buy a house, there's an inspection process. Buying a house is one of the most, for most all of us, it's like one of the biggest purchases, most stressful, big decision, a lot to it. Is this the right neighborhood, house, physically? What's happened to this house before I lived here? What problems might arise? But you at least go through the physical of a ball player or the inspection of a house, just to have a third set of eyes on this to say, yeah, this is exactly what we're expecting. Look, Carlos Correa could roll his ankle spring training day 1, and you made the investment, but at least going into it, you knew that it was in a good spot. There's obviously something to be a bit concerned with. I'm just here to say it's now in reverse. It's interesting. I wonder if Houston knew about this the entire time, and that's why they were like, hey, when this contract is over and we're kind of now good again at the shortstop position, we'll let you go. And then Minnesota, it was a 3-year deal, right? But I think he had the option after 1 to get out of it. I'm just kind of wondering what other prior teams knew and what they gambled on versus now, right? Like a 13 or a 12-year deal. I mean, if the Mets or Giants were signing him to a 3-year deal, and probably knowing what they know about some other prior issue, injury, if it is an ankle, they'd probably just say, we'll take our chances on this. We're not, we'll roll the dice. But 13 years was something that is at least looming or they know about or has been discussed or rubs them the wrong way. Like, I got to go back and actually, I didn't bad talk the Giants at all, but I think for a lot of people who pointed their finger and said, this team can't get a deal done, they're always the bridesmaids, da-da-da-da-da. I mean, look, they took a great shot and they were diligent at seeing it through. And I think it could have been handled better, but it could have been handled better from the beginning. Like, if you're shopping around your free agent, do a physical on him before teams even get that chance. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollar deal here. If I knew that I was, this is hilarious. If I knew that I was going to get a $300 million broadcasting deal, I can't even say that right, but it relied on my physical health, I would make sure that I visited 3 different doctors to make sure that when I sign this contract, there's no question I'm going to be good with this. I don't want to leave that to chance. And I know that's not on the agents or the players' responsibility, but it's weird that I don't know, that was presented and, we didn't know that there was a problem. Well, you might have. The teams certainly didn't know it until they got his records, but now they have him, and then they saw him in person and whatever. So I guess I'm here to kind of say that, the 2 teams that have raised concerns, there's a commonality there, and that's all you need to know. And ultimately, this plays out worse for Correa. It does, because whatever happens to him, that's going to loom over his head. And ultimately, whatever team signs him for the long term, imagine if anything. I mean, now it's like the freak out thing of, it's the ankle. Even if it was a freak sliding into second, thing that's done in 3 days, everybody's going to freak out the moment something like that happens because this got blown out of proportion. It's on everybody's radar right now, and it's something nobody will forget. So I wish I knew what was going on right now, but it sure is silent, and it sure is fishy. Wow, I got way behind on the old live chat. Oh, Yoki is the name. Which Sharks prospect should we be excited about? Let me just name the first two that come to mind. Eklund and Bordelot. And they've already played on the Sharks. William Eklund had those 9 games last year. Bordelot had, was it 8 or 9 or 10 at the very end of last year? So Eklund was at the beginning of last season, and they had to make a choice after 9 games of what to do with him. They sent him back to Sweden. And Bordelot just finished college at Michigan, and instantly they said, hey, welcome to the Sharks. Didn't score his first goal yet. Did score a shootout winner against Las Vegas. In fact, one of the games that kind of knocked Las Vegas out of playoff contention for the first time ever. Or at least it helped in that prospect. But look, to be quite honest, those two are where you start. If this is kind of a primer conversation for you, Yoki, that's where I would begin. Both forwards, both, I guess you'd say, undersized. I mean, they're not big and strong and bulky. They'll get bigger, but that's not their game. Skillful, talented playmakers. Everything I saw from them at the NHL level in spurts, everything I've seen highlight-wise during Barracuda games, I think that's where you start. And the list goes on and on from there, but that's where I would start. I appreciate you, by the way, for being here and being in the Super Chat, Yoki. That's awesome. And by the way, I think I'm going to do about 10 more minutes here on the old live chat. So that's the 10-minute warning. So we got to get it going here. I feel like we got to... What's up, Brutus? How are you, buddy? We got to really get it going here. Who is my NFL squad? I don't really have one. I don't want to jump on the 49ers bandwagon and tell you, yeah. Like, I watch, I pay attention, I keep tabs. Certainly the Raiders and what they did to Oakland and the Bay Area, they were not here when I was growing up. They were in Los Angeles, then they came back. I don't have any connections to them, and kind of the way they treated our area, I know there's plenty of Raider fans who are my friends still, and their family connections have made them Raider fans. I get it. I respect you. I just can't. I didn't have that same connection, so I can't have it the same way. Mark, thank you for sharing my tweet last night. Oh, you were watching in Canada. That's awesome. Last night I knew our broadcast was on in Canada. It's rare that the intermission segments actually make it on the air. Oh, your computer was slow earlier. No worries. Dark Knight Driver, what is going on? Favorite start time for a Sharks game? I got to tell you, as I get older and as I'm a father of a school-aged kid now, 7:30s are hard. 7:30s are hard for me even when I get home and it's 11:30 at night. And we're all waking up the next morning at 7, and I'm trying to go home and get to bed ASAP. I know the Sharks have long been a 7:30 puck drop start time for home games. And I get it. People like their dinners downtown, and they like to come home from work, if they still do come home from work. And maybe it's time to reassess. You know what? Jonathan Becker, Sharks president, as open, as honest, as friendly to me as they get. I'll ask him that question for all of you. If you are agreeing with me, maybe some of you out there say, hey, I've got my kids' practice and it's 7:30 is the only way I can make it. Okay. I'm not here to, this is not that big a deal. This is actually me being selfish. But baseball has moved all their games up usually by about a half hour. They were like 7:05 first pitches. Now we're seeing a lot of, 6:30 first pitches. And remember during 2020, everybody was 6 o'clock first pitches. So I'm wondering with, more people working from home, if there is an opportunity to move games up for a couple different reasons. Your crowd, your audience is way more energized with that extra half hour or more. They can still fit in the dinner stuff, or maybe they're more hungry during your game instead of having it be later at night. And also, I think it's only fair to your team for their national audience, for their continental audience, in a sense that it just makes it that much easier if you're a Sharks fan out east, that you don't have to wait until 10:30 or 10:40 at night to watch the puck drop for San Jose. So I think there are some things to gain by having an earlier start time. So I like 7s. I would even do 6:30s, to be honest. I'm wondering if most people are done with work at 5, it's a good 90 minutes to do what you need to do and get to the game. Could people work with that? I also, by the way, and they do this, and they've got a handful of these games. I love the 1 o'clock matinees on a weekend or on the MLK holiday, which we're doing that again this year, right? Coming up. So I do like earlier start times. It's rough for me to sit here and say, well, the 7:30 is my least favorite. No, we're fine. If that's what we're doing, and if there's good reasoning, we're fine. If we could tilt it, if we could shift it, I'd be very okay with that. And that's just me being selfish. It's me being a 41-year-old dude, right? But I next time, and the time is certainly coming. Jonathan's really good about this. We ask a lot of questions about the franchise and the direction, so I'll pitch that his way. He's also a frequent viewer here on the channel, which I greatly appreciate. He should not be here on this channel. Half of you shouldn't be here on this channel, to be honest. Never forget the midnight stream with the bots. Hey, bots. Were they Russian bots? How do I get a little bit more echo here? There we go. Oh, it's too wishy-washy. Let's just try this here. Hang on a second. Oh, bots. Where are you, bots? Hey, who wants to see an ASMR video, by the way? Does anybody want to see ASMR? You need 2 microphones, and you need to do all that like hand rubbing and all the like clapping or whatever. How did I get into that tangent? Eric, why'd you do that to me? Blaming you on that. Great you're here. Oh, thanks, John, especially for an A's fan in Philadelphia. Hey, you only missed the team by about 70 years. They were your team in your town long ago. I'm sure maybe some family in your lineage, if they were Philadelphians, if that's how it went. What is the back of the napkin for becoming a Cessna pilot over a 2-year? The back of the napkin, are you saying like what's the way to do it? 2 years is plenty of time. Honestly, flight training should happen in a condensed time period so that the longer you stretch it out, obviously the more expensive it gets, but the less you retain in between lessons. You got to kind of make a one swift kind of kick at it. So honestly, 6 to 8 to 9 months is probably a private pilot, a good timeline for a training path. Oh, wait, did I, Suswall, thank you for being here in the super chat. I really do appreciate that. Cool, you're playing the guitar. I should also explain this. Everybody that's donating to the super chat, where does this go? All right back to the channel. Believe it or not, the bells and whistles of this place, the upkeep of this place, a couple new hard drives I need here and there. A lot of it, I usually just say, well, I'll take care of it. I'll pay for it. But obviously, I'm hoping that over time, things like this will happen and super chats and, ad revenue that comes in from the channel. It's just enough to pay for itself, basically. Pay for the time to do it, pay for the equipment to do it. But in the meantime, I appreciate all of you like Suswall who are here in the super chat. That's awesome. Oh, I was going to say, you play the guitar. I had this thought, I just do not have enough free time, but someday I'm going to get an electric keyboard in here. And I will do live streams once I'm good enough to start playing some, you know what I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably end up doing this. Oh, wait. See, actually, do I now even need to learn how to play the piano? I started when I was like 5 or 6, and that didn't go very far. Every good boy does fine. E, G, B, D, F, right? So those are the keys. Some of you out there are like, yeah, you're an idiot. That's exactly what it is. But maybe I don't need to learn how to play. Maybe I just power chord. Maybe I'll just get a keyboard right here. So you're seeing me hit the sound effects, and instead of doing that, I'll have like a pedal where I hit the foot pedal and just go. Right? Look how good I am. I just learned this. Not bad. Entirely fake. And this is when you know the live stream has become unhinged. Is anybody... Are we still live, number one? Like, have I been talking to nobody this? Because I'm way behind in the live chat. You see, this is where I get kind of in no man's land. I don't know if I'm still on, if anybody's actually still here. Oh, look, it does look like some people are here. Oh, and by the way, Suswall, I'm just noticing you gave me the ha ha ha. There you go. The ha 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 on there. The fox is laughing at me. Yeah, I saw Brutus's comment. I'm usually behind. I'm usually way behind on the live chat. Where is that here? Regular Raccoon just says banana. A's Raiders Dub Shark Casey, what's good? Good to see you on here. Yes, I am usually behind. New Sharks organist. Almost said organist. I mean, I like things organic, but organist. A stadium in the Livermore Hills with a view in right field of the Golden Hills filled with oak trees. We could still call them the Oakland A. I see what you're doing. No, you know what? It's clear to me. If you're a baseball team and you're in the Bay Area, like, you need to be in a metropolitan place. I don't know that the suburbs, like, you could argue that Levi Stadium in Santa Clara is as suburb as it gets, and that's not really, it is the suburbs, but not really. You know, you can't go out into, like, the far neighborhoods of the Bay Area. Like, you need to be in that immediate core, like off 101 or off 80 or around 880. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's that immediate hub that you kind of need to be in. Just a thought. Christmas was good. More about my son than anything else. So, like, it's, you know, and that's a natural, cool progression of life, that it is all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I don't know that I even want anything. I just want to see him get things that he wants or he didn't know that he wanted, but he'll get excited about. So, that's kind of the big thing of the last couple Christmases, and yeah, probably moving forward. So, and to slow it down and to see all my immediate family members, you know, that's the way to do it. Why is Manfred so scared to be interviewed by me? I don't know that scared is the word. I think what's been difficult about maybe Rob Manfred's, involvement so far in Howard Terminal. I don't know, is difficult the right word? I'm trying to think of even how to start the response to this. And it's only because I really want to nail it. I wish Rob Manfred would take a little bit of time for the local media. Now, look, he's the commissioner of baseball. He's a national guy. He's a big deal. But when he holds these press conferences talking to reporters from across the country, like he did in San Diego, and they're not from Oakland, most all of them don't have a vested interest in Oakland. They're just kind of there to repeat whatever he says. And I'm not discrediting all those reporters. It's just not in their backyard. This is not the biggest deal to them. I think I would come in with a handful of different questions than any of them did. That day at winter meetings, I was there. He did a press conference that was exclusive to baseball writers only, of the national variety, right? I mean, they're literally coast to coast, covering all the different teams, and they're covering all the different topics. So this was not a Howard Terminal press conference. This was, hey, the commissioner is having this availability, and there's a lot to talk about. But Howard Terminal, the A's, and the Tampa Rays, they're always part of Rob Manfred's conversations. What becomes frustrating to me is that I wish we could have a little bit of time and back and forth and interaction with the commissioner to understand baseball's true involvement, their plans. What are you really hoping for here? And it's hard. It's a hard spot for baseball to be in. What do you say? Because you don't want to offend Las Vegas, you might ultimately expand there. Or hopefully not move there. You also don't want to offend Oakland because you are there right now and hopefully you get to stay there. So he's put in kind of an impossible situation, and maybe that's why he'd rather keep it wide open, generic, do my 2 or 3 questions on Oakland and Howard Terminal, say what he wanted to say more than answer the questions that he didn't, know about. And maybe that's it for Rob Manfred. For me, I think, and selfishly, yeah, I'd love to be the guy. working for the network I do and the background I've got and the effort I've put into this. But if it's not me, I can think of a couple others that would do a really good job in a Howard Terminal interview with Rob Manfred. I would love to see it from our region's perspective. And I also realized too that, the A's are the ones in the negotiations here. The A's are the ones that are on the ground floor of all this and how it goes. And, I'm not saying they have total control because they're dealing with government entities and politicians and all that stuff. So what I'm saying is that the A's are the ones actually doing the legwork. So it's also, the commissioner, like I said, doesn't want to upset Oakland or Las Vegas, but also doesn't want to step on the A's toes, probably. Right? And so I think for him, there's really kind of this narrow path. Unfortunately, when he stays on that narrow path, if you are somebody from Cincinnati who doesn't know much about the Oakland situation or what's been going on with an EIR that gets approved or, a land designation, a port priority designation being removed to open the door for this site. When you see stuff happening here, like it's going slow, but some things are happening. Now we're obviously in transition with a mayor-elect. Sheng Tao will take over the full mayor title in a matter of weeks in January. A couple new city council members, new people voting, obviously, on this ultimately and eventually. But these are people who are not well-versed on the situation that are the ones that get to interface with Manfred, and then he's feeding them something. But essentially, they're flying up here at 35,000 feet, all of them. The national media and Commissioner Manfred, and then there's a lot of us down here like, hey, can we talk? So, again, it's a difficult situation for him. And I don't know that I tried. I made a direct request to the commissioner's office. I was directly responded to and briefly responded to, and I'll try again. I just knew I'd be at winter meetings. He'd be at winter meetings. So I hope we can work that conversation out, but he's not scared of me. He and his people are taking their best path. All right. I passed it by 5 minutes. Still playing hockey. I went to the Christy Yamaguchi outdoor rink. I think that might have been the first time I skated in year and a half. I didn't fall. That's good. You know what? No, I haven't played in a bit. Matinees are terrible. You don't like the afternoon hockey games. I do. Thanks for answering. You got it. Thank you for being part of the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Is there a job open for Eck in the booth? Oh, Miguel. I forgot about that. I remember that he kind of said farewell to his prior job, and I know he came out here to California to relocate. Maybe Brazil. I got Eck's number. Maybe you'll and Stu's obviously his buddy, so maybe we'll do a little conversation. We'll just add to the team, right? Any non-flight sim games ever catch your eye? FIFA? I'm so bad. Like, whoa. Can't even hold my mouse here apparently either. When I grab the sticks, it's literally to play FIFA or MLB The Show or NHL. I got to branch out. I know. And I have, the Xbox, whatever the subscription is, to play all the games, and I never get around to it. Time is of the essence. Okay. I could literally be here, and I should. You're right. I should definitely live stream more. All right. I want to say thank you. I appreciate everybody for being here. I'm going to be peacing out. So while I go, I should leave you with something. Is it completely dark outside? Let's take a live look somewhere. Oh, you want to go back to space? We can go back to space. And also, whatever happened to my... There we go. Some nice music. I got to work on the fade ins and fade outs there. This is not good production quality, Brazil. Okay, how about this? One more live look at space. What is that thing spinning up there? Look at the space station, how it's top right up there. There's like a gyro-based something up there. Can I move my mouse on this? I guess I can't. That is pretty trippy. I'm gonna guess it's still coming down outside. Yep. No question about it. Oh, it's raining all over the place now. San Jose, it's so rainy, it's out of focus. All right. Be safe, everybody. Thanks for being here on the live chat. We'll talk again soon. Happy New Year.